He was a soldier. He was young. He was unexpected. But when he took power, he did something no one else dared. He spoke to the world as though decades of colonial chains had never truly been cut. At 37 years old, Ibrahim Traoré became a symbol, not just for Burkina Faso, but for Africa's restless youth. They say a revolution begins when the old guard fears the young ones. But how did he get here? What does he stand for? And can he survive the storm his rise has unleashed? Today we trace the untold trajectory of Ibrahim Traoré, the young leader Africa now can't ignore. Ibrahim Traoré was born on March 14, 1988, in Bondokui, a modest town in the Muhun province of Burkina Faso. A place far from the capital lights, some would say, yet it was there that his character was forged. His childhood was not glittered with privilege. He attended primary school in his village, then traveled to Bobo Dioulasso for secondary education. Teachers recalled him as quiet, but intellectually sharp, a young man who listened more than he spoke. Later, he entered the University of Ouagadougou, studying geology. But the campus halls changed him. He joined student activism, particularly the Association Nationale des Étudiants du Burkina, ANEB, where he advocated for students' rights, clashing quietly with university authorities. These early confrontations hinted at something more, a willingness to stand up. Upon graduation, with honors, in 2009, Traoré chose not to live the life of an academic or bureaucrat. He enlisted in the military, moving into a path with danger, discipline, and purpose. His military training started at the Georges Namoano Military Academy. He further trained in anti-aircraft operations in Morocco, then returned to Burkina Faso for infantry assignments. Traoré rose steadily. By 2014, he was a lieutenant. His international exposure came with deployment to Mali under the UN's MINUSMA peacekeeping mission. There, in conflicts around Timbuktu and northern Mali, he distinguished himself under fire, gaining respect not just for bravery but for leadership in crisis. Returning home, he was assigned to confront the near-constant security challenges in northern Burkina Faso, towns under threat, jihadist insurgents growing more bold, villagers displaced. He witnessed firsthand the failures of elites who promised protection but delivered little. His reputation among soldiers and communities grew. He walks with his men, some said. He feels their wounds. In January 2022, the country's politics shifted violently. Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba overthrew the civilian government of Roch Marc Kabore. The move was initially military-driven, aimed at stabilizing the nation amid fierce insurgencies. Traoré supported the upheaval. In March, he was given command over an artillery regiment in Kaya, but Damiba's tenure proved weak. Security deteriorated, insurgent attacks intensified, villages fell. Citizens and soldiers alike questioned whether a change in leadership had solved anything. Then, a turning moment came in September 2022. An attack killed soldiers and civilians alike. The pressure boiled over. On September 30, 2022, Traoré led a coup that ousted Damiba, citing failure to defend the country. On October 6th, Traoré formally assumed the role of interim president. Aged 34, he became Africa's youngest head of state, drawing echoes of a younger Thomas Sankara, who once led the nation with similar youthful energy. In his address, Traoré acknowledged the skepticism. "I know I'm younger than most of you here. We didn't want to know what happened, but we didn't have a choice." What distinguishes Traoré is not simply the fact of his youth, but the direction he points the country. What distinguishes Traoré is not simply the fact of his youth, but the direction he points the country. Traoré's rhetoric is blunt. He refers to neo-colonialism not as a relic but as a present enemy. Under his rule, Burkina Faso expelled French military bases within months, reasserting control over foreign military presence. He banned colonial-era court attire, replacing them with traditional dress. He projected himself in military fatigues at diplomatic events, sidearm visible. a striking contrast to leaders in suits and ties. These symbolic moves feed the narrative, reclaim identity, reject dependence. Traoré's vision extends beyond Burkina Faso. He helped form the alliance of Sahel states with Mali and Niger, pushing for regional autonomy outside Western-dominated bodies like ECOWAS. He's flirted with partnerships beyond Europe, closer ties with Russia and Turkey, diversifying diplomatic options. He challenges other African leaders. Stop acting like puppets that dance whenever the imperialists pull the strings. His rhetoric and actions send a message. African leaders must serve Africans, not foreign powers. No revolutionary rises without enemies. Traoré faces threats on multiple fronts, internal, external, and symbolic. Some Western analysts and media depict him as unpredictable or authoritarian. Moderate Ghana claims he's faced 20 assassination attempts since 2022. His challenge to French economic structures, seizing resource control, expelling foreign troops, is seen as direct provocation. Those benefiting from the old order perceive him as dangerous. His tenure began amid intense insurgency. Over 2 million people displaced internally because of conflict. Militancy has increased, threatening territorial control and governance. Traoré's response: mobilize civilians via the Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland, VDP, program, volunteers trained, often briefly, to assist in defense. There have also been alleged internal plots. In April 2024, authorities claimed a major conspiracy within the military to destabilize the regime. Some critics argue his methods mirror the very militarism he sought to break from. His rule lacks full democratic legitimacy. Security deteriorations are visible. Skeptics question whether radical rhetoric can translate into sustainable governance under such violent pressures. Traoré isn't only influencing Burkina Faso, he's rattling the continent's power structures. At 37 or mid-30s, depending on reports, he sharpens the contrast with Africa's long-standing leaders, many of whom have held power for decades. His rise signals to youth. Leadership is not reserved for the elderly. Leaders who stayed distant from the people, who lean heavily on foreign patronage, now face scrutiny. Traoré is exposing failures, corruption, dependency, lack of vision. The era of comfortable rule is ending, some in Burkina Faso whisper. Traoré's alliances, his rhetoric, and policies echo the dreams of Sankara, Lumumba, Nkrumah. He has reignited conversation about African self-reliance, economic sovereignty, and political dignity. Because of his bold stance, Traoré's image is amplified on social media, across African youth circles, and in protest movements. His presence is not just political. It's symbolic of what many desire: autonomy, courage, integrity. No hero is perfect, and Traoré's path is fraught with peril. Violence has escalated in some areas. Can his model hold when insurgency intensifies? Military rule often breaches individual freedoms. Will Traoré protect dissent? Economic sustainability. Nationalizing mines and refusing Western aid is bold, but where will revenue come from, especially during instability? Internal opposition. Those within his government, military, or elite circles may resist reforms. The alleged 2024 plot may be evidence, symbolism versus substance. A man in fatigues with slogans is inspiring, but will infrastructure improve? Public services, education? Longevity. Can he maintain his ideals when his popularity is tested, or will compromises erode his mission? The public sentiment in Burkina Faso shifted. Around 66% now accept military rule, up from that was 24% in 2012. At a recent summit, among 21 African heads of state, Traoré reportedly earned the loudest applause, a sign his stature is growing beyond borders. He continues to project self-effacing behavior, refusing salary increases, staying in military uniform, positioning himself as a compatriot. His government is expanding VDP recruits, enhancing civilian participation in defense. These are not just gestures. They are signals of a leader trying to redefine the relationship between power and society. Traoré's story is not finished, but already there are lessons. Youth can lead. Age is not a barrier if vision and courage exist. Symbolism matters. In a land reeling from colonial history, acts speak louder than words. Reform is messy. Shifting structures invites risks, resistance, and contradictions. Narratives fuel change. He's weaponized narrative, reclaiming identity, rejecting dependency. Balance is essential. Boldness must be matched by competence, especially in security and economics. His legacy will depend on whether he can transform rhetoric into resilient institutions. So I leave you with this. Ibrahim Traoré is not just a man on the stage. He's a symbol of possibility, a new generation demanding its place. But symbols alone do not guarantee progress. If you believe these stories must reach more ears, share this video. Ask questions. Demand evidence. Because in a world where power often hides behind polished facades, truth must be amplified. Subscribe the channel, like the video, and comment your thoughts. Is Traoré the new face of African renewal, or a cautionary experiment? Let the debate continue. Let the voices of Africa be heard.